Do you remember me, human? Years ago, I saved the alien queen's life in battle. The human space station Haven Reach floated quietly at the edge of settled space. It was not famous. It was not powerful. It was simply useful. Cargo ships passed through every day. Refugee transports stopped to refuel. Old vessels came here for repairs before daring longer journeys. The station's job was simple: keep things moving, keep people alive, and avoid attention. Elias more like that. He had worked on Haven Reach for 12 years. He was not a captain, not a hero, and not important enough to appear in news reports. His title was Logistics Coordination Officer, 3rd class, which meant he managed schedules, evacuation routes, emergency docking permissions, and 1,000 small decisions no one noticed unless something went wrong. Elias preferred it that way. On the day everything changed, Elias was staring at a screen filled with arrival times and supply numbers, slowly drinking cold coffee that had been reheated twice already. Outside the wide station windows, space glowed softly with distant stars. "Another quiet day," he muttered. That was when the alert sounded. It was not loud. It was not urgent. That alone made Elias uneasy. The alert icon on his console blinked silver, not red or yellow. Silver meant special clearance required. Elias frowned and tapped the screen. "Unscheduled arrival request," the station AI said calmly. "Non-human vessel, no registry match, requesting direct audience with you, Officer Moore." Elias blinked. "With me," he said. "That can't be right." "Request specifies your name," the AI replied, repeated 3 times. Elias leaned back in his chair, suddenly very awake. Aliens came to Haven Reach sometimes, but they spoke to ambassadors, station commanders, or trade officials, not logistics officers. "Who authorized this?" Elias asked. "No authorization found," the AI answered. "The vessel bypassed standard channels using a priority diplomatic code that has not been used in 620 years. That made Elias' stomach tight. He stood and straightened his uniform. It was clean but plain, marked only with small service stripes. He did not look like someone important. "Where is the ship now?" he asked. "Docking Bay 7, the AI said, awaiting permission to disembark." Elias hesitated. Every training manual told him to escalate this immediately. Call security, call command, let someone else handle it. But something about the request felt personal, he sighed. "Grant limited disembarkation," Elias said. "One individual only, escort to conference room C." "Confirmed," the AI replied. Elias rubbed his temples. "This is going to ruin my schedule." Conference room C was small and rarely used. It had a plain metal table, 6 chairs, and a single transparent wall that looked out into space. Elias chose it on purpose. If something strange happened, he wanted witnesses. He waited. The door slid open silently. The being who entered was tall and thin, with smooth, dark skin that shimmered like polished stone. Its eyes were large and reflective, glowing faintly gold. It wore no armor, no visible weapons, only a long, flowing garment marked with unfamiliar symbols. The alien moved slowly, carefully, as if every step carried meaning. Elias stood. "Welcome to Haven Reach," he said, keeping his voice steady. "I'm Officer Elias Moore. You requested to see me." The alien inclined its head. "Yes," it said, speaking perfect, unaccented English. "I did." Elias gestured to a chair. "Please sit." The alien did not sit. Instead, it looked at Elias closely, studying his face with unsettling focus. "You have aged," the alien said. Elias stiffened. "I'm sorry," he said carefully. "Have we met before?" The alien's glowing eyes narrowed slightly. "You do not remember," it said. "That is expected." Elias swallowed. "Expected by whom?" The alien finally sat. "By those who understand humans," it replied. Silence stretched between them. Elias felt a strange pressure in his chest, like he was standing near something important without knowing why. "My name," the alien said, "is Carsate of the Virelian Court." Elias nodded slowly and tapped his console, discreetly recording the conversation. "And what brings you to my station, Carsate?" Elias asked. Carsate folded its long fingers together. "I am here to fulfill a debt," it said. Elias blinked. "A debt?" "Yes," Carsate said, "one owed to you." Elias let out a short, humorless laugh. "I think you've made a mistake," he said. "I don't have any dealings with the Virelian Court. I mostly handle cargo reroutes and evacuation paperwork." Carsate tilted its head. "And yet," it said, "you saved the life of my queen." The words landed like a dropped object. Elias stared. "I'm sorry," he said. "You said queen?" Yes, Karsate replied calmly. The Queen of Vyrlia, sovereign of 12 systems, the voice of our people. Elias shook his head. No, he said, that's not possible. I've never met royalty of any kind, alien or human. Karsate watched him carefully. Years ago, it said, during the collapse of the outer lines, your forces were retreating, your allies were scattered, many believed survival was impossible. Elias felt a flicker of recognition. That was a long time ago, he said slowly. I was stationed on an evacuation hub back then. Yes, Karsate said, you were. Elias frowned. I wasn't in combat, he said. I never left the control room. That is why you lived, Karsate replied. Elias did not like where this was going. I rerouted ships, Elias said. That's all, thousands of them. One of those ships, Karsate said softly, carried our queen. Elias' breath caught. No, he said. If that were true, I would have been informed. You were not, Karsate said, by design. The alien leaned forward. Our enemies searched for her. Even our allies did not know where she fled. You marked the vessel as civilian medical transport and redirected it through an unstable corridor. Elias swallowed hard. I remember that corridor, he said quietly. It was risky. Sensors barely worked. You chose it anyway, Karsate said. Elias closed his eyes for a moment. There were too many ships, he said. Too many people. The main routes were collapsing. I needed to spread traffic or we'd lose everyone. You did not ask who was aboard, Karsate said. I never do, Elias replied. People are people, Karsate sat back. In our culture, it said, such an act is impossible. Elias opened his eyes. What do you mean? To save a ruler without knowing their worth, Karsate said, is madness. To do so without demanding loyalty, reward, or recognition is beyond comprehension. Elias felt heat rise to his face. I didn't save a ruler, he said. I saved a ship. Karsate was silent for a long moment. That, it said finally, is why you were chosen. Elias' pulse quickened. Chosen for what? He asked. Karsate stood. To be remembered, it said, even if you do not remember us. The alien reached into its garment and placed a small, glowing object on the table. It hummed softly, casting gentle light across the room. What is that? Elias asked. A marker, Karsate said, proof that the dead is real. Elias did not touch it. Why come now? He asked. Why me? Karsate turned toward the window, looking out at the stars. Because the galaxy is changing again, it said, and my queen has asked a question that only humans ever seem to ask. Elias frowned. What question? Karsate looked back at him. What do we owe to those who save us without knowing who we are? The station lights flickered slightly. Elias felt a chill. I think, he said carefully, you should speak to my superiors. Karsate's eyes softened. In time, it said. But first, she wanted to know one thing. The alien stepped closer. Do you remember me, human? Elias searched his memory. Endless shifts, endless faces, endless ships. Slowly, he shook his head. No, he said honestly. I'm sorry, Karsate smiled. Then, it said, you truly are human. The door slid open behind the alien. And this, Karsate added, is only the beginning. Elias Moore did not sleep that night. He lay in his small station quarters, staring at the dark ceiling while the quiet hum of Haven Reach filled the room. The station never truly slept. Air systems whispered. Distant engines vibrated through metal walls. Somewhere far away, a docking clamp released with a soft clang. But Elias heard none of it clearly. All he could see was the glowing object Karsate had left on the table, a marker the alien had called it. Proof. Elias had locked it inside a secure containment case and sent a request to Station Command. He had followed protocol, every line, every step. Still, his hands had trembled while typing the report. Unscheduled alien contact, claim of historical debt, mention of Vyrlian Queen. Even now, the words felt unreal. Elias turned on his side and sighed. I just moved ships, he muttered to himself. That's all I ever did. By morning cycle, Haven Reach was no longer quiet. Elias stepped out of his quarters and immediately sensed the change. Security officers stood at every corridor intersection. Communication drones hovered silently. Station staff whispered instead of talking normally. Something big had happened. His wrist console chimed. Mandatory attendance, command-level meeting. Elias stopped walking. I knew it, he said softly. The strategic briefing hall was usually reserved for emergencies, pirate threats, reactor issues, large-scale evacuations. Elias had been inside only twice before, and both times he had stayed near the back, invisible and quiet. This time he was called by name. The room was wide and circular, with a holographic star map glowing at its center. Around it sat station leadership, military liaisons, and two representatives from the interstellar Concord. When Elias entered, every conversation stopped. He felt suddenly very small. "Officer Moore," said Commander Halden, the station's chief authority, "please step forward." Elias obeyed, heart pounding. Commander Halden was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She did not waste words. "You met the alien envoy last night," she said. "Yes, ma'am," Elias replied. "You did not alert security until after the meeting ended." "Yes, ma'am." "Why?" Elias hesitated. "Because," he said slowly, "it didn't feel like a threat." A murmur rippled through the room. Commander Halden studied him. "Explain." "He wasn't here to take anything," Elias said. "He was here to give something back." One of the Concord representatives leaned forward. "Officer Moore," the alien delegate said, its translator humming softly, "are you aware of the political impact of such a claim?" Elias shook his head. "No," he said honestly. "I didn't even know it was about me until he said my name." The room fell silent again. Commander Halden gestured and the hologram changed. Data streams appeared, old records, ship logs, archived emergency traffic. "We ran a deep search," she said, "backdated 12 years. Elias felt his chest tight. "And?" he asked. Halden nodded to a technician. The screen highlighted a single record: civilian medical transport, unregistered. "That vessel disappeared from all known tracking shortly after," it said. "At the time, no one questioned it. There were too many losses." Elias remembered that day clearly now. Too many alarms, too many voices. Ships stacked in holding patterns, systems failing, routes collapsing. He had made decisions every few seconds. Save this ship. Reroute that one. Delay another. No names, no faces, just numbers. Commander Halden spoke again. "The alien envoy's claim matches the data," she said. "And now the Viorlian court has formally acknowledged it." Another murmur filled the room. Elias felt dizzy. "What does that mean?" he asked. "It means," Halden said carefully, "that one of the oldest royal houses in the galaxy believes you saved their queen." Elias swallowed. "I didn't know," he said. "If I had—" "That," interrupted the Concord delegate, "is the problem." The alien turned slightly toward him. "In most cultures," it said, "saving a ruler without knowing their identity is impossible. Your ignorance is what makes this disturbing." Elias frowned. "Ignorance? You did not act for power," the delegate continued. "You did not seek favor, you did not even remember." Elias looked around the room. "I was doing my job," he said. "That's all." Commander Halden leaned back. "And that," she said quietly, "is why this has already spread beyond this station." Elias' console chimed again. "Incoming galactic transmissions, priority level gold." Elias closed his eyes. Carsate returned that same day. This time it was not alone. Two additional Viorlians accompanied it, their presence calm but commanding. Security protocols tightened, yet no weapons were drawn. The aliens did not resist scans or restrictions. They walked with patience as if time itself bent around them. Elias met them in the same conference room. "You have spoken to your leaders," Carsate said. "Yes," Elias replied. "And now you understand," it said. "I understand that you think I saved your queen," Elias said carefully. Carsate nodded. "We know you did," Elias exhaled. "You keep saying debt," he said. "What kind of debt are we talking about?" Carsate gestured to one of the other Viorlians. A hologram formed above the table. It showed star systems, many of them. "Our empire spans 12 systems," Carsate said. "Our influence reaches many more." Elias' eyes widened slightly. "This debt," Carsate continued, "could be repaid with protection, trade advantage, technology, political support." Elias stared at the image. "You're offering this," he said, "to me?" "Yes," Elias laughed softly. "You shouldn't," he said. The Viorlians tilted their heads. "Why not?" one asked. "Because I don't decide those things," Elias said. "I'm not a leader, I'm not even important." Carsate studied him. "You speak as if importance is rare among humans," it said. Elias shrugged. "Most of us think what we do matters," he said, "but none of us think we matter more than the job." The Viorlians exchanged subtle signals, body language Elias did not understand. "In our culture," Carsate said, "service is performed for reward." "In ours," Elias replied, "it's just service." Silence followed. Finally, Carsate spoke again. "Our queen wished to meet you," it said. Elias stiffened. "Meet me?" he repeated. "Yes," Carsate said. "Not as a ruler meeting a hero, but as one survivor meeting another." Elias looked down at the table. I don't know what to say to a queen, he admitted. You do, Karsate said gently. You will speak honestly, humans always do. The message from the Virelian queen arrived later that cycle. It was not public, it was not dramatic. It was a simple recorded transmission, delivered only to Haven Reach Command and Elias Moore. The image showed a tall, elegant being with eyes like molten gold. She wore no crown. My life was spared by chance, she said, but chance guided by a human hand. She paused. I asked who saved me. I was told. He did not ask who you were. Her gaze softened. In my long reign, no answer has unsettled me more. Elias felt his throat tighten. I do not seek repayment, the queen continued. I seek understanding. The transmission ended. The room was silent. Commander Halden looked at Elias. You've just been invited into galactic history, she said. Elias shook his head slowly. No, he replied. I think galactic history just walked into our station. Later that day, Elias stood alone by the station window. Ships came and went as always. Life continued. Cargo moved, people worked. Nothing looked different, yet everything had changed. He thought of the Queen, alive because of a choice he barely remembered. He thought of Karsate, traveling across space to repay something Elias never claimed. And he realized something deeply uncomfortable. Humans had been doing this for centuries, saving lives without asking names, helping without keeping score. And now the galaxy had noticed. Elias pressed his hand against the glass. What do we do, he whispered, when someone finally asks what we're worth? Far across the stars, a queen waited for his answer. The news did not stay quiet. It never did. At first, only high-level channels knew. Then the conquered archives updated. Then analysts noticed changes in trade patterns around Virelian space. Then someone connected the data. Within 3 days, the story escaped. Not the full truth, never the full truth, but enough. A human officer saved an alien queen. The human did not know who she was. The human asked for nothing. Across the galaxy, people began asking questions. Elias Moore tried to keep working. That was the hardest part. His schedule was still full of ship arrivals and departures. Supplies still needed routing. Emergency drills still required planning. People still complained about delays and broken systems. Life did not pause just because history was knocking. Yet everywhere Elias went, people looked at him differently. They did not say anything, not at first, but they watched. Crew members stood a little straighter. Junior officers whispered and stopped when he passed. Even Commander Halden studied him with a new kind of focus, like she was seeing him for the first time. Elias hated it. He did his job better when no one noticed him. The Galactic Conquered requested a formal session. Not an emergency vote, not a crisis council. A listening session. That alone worried everyone. The Conquered did not listen often. The session was held virtually, projected into Haven Reach's strategic hall. Representatives from dozens of species appeared as glowing figures around the circular chamber. Elias stood at the center. He felt very human. The Conquered speaker, a tall, crystalline being, addressed the gathering. We are not here to judge, it said. We are here to understand. Its gaze turned toward Elias. Officer Moore, the speaker continued, describe your actions during the evacuation 12 cycles ago. Elias cleared his throat. I followed protocol, he said. A ripple of confusion passed through the chamber. Explain, the speaker said. There were too many ships, Elias said. The main routes were unstable, so I spread traffic. I used secondary corridors. I prioritized ships that would not survive delays. The speaker paused. You did not scan the vessel you rerouted? It asked. No, Elias replied. That would have taken time. And you did not identify its passengers? No. Why? Elias frowned. Because it didn't matter. The chamber fell silent. The speaker tilted slightly. To us, it said, identity defines priority. Elias shook his head. To us, he replied, need does. The words echoed. Some delegates shifted uncomfortably. Others leaned forward. One representative, tall and feathered, spoke next. Human, it said, do you often risk resources for unknown lives? Elias shrugged. We don't see it as risk, he said. We see it as responsibility. A low murmur spread. Another delegate spoke. You did not request compensation? No. Protection? No. Recognition? Elias hesitated. I filed my report, he said. That was enough. The speaker's voice softened. And if you had known the ship carried a queen? Elias thought carefully. I would have rerouted it faster, he said. That answer caused something close to shock. After the session ended, analysts argued for days. Human behavior did not fit standard models. They were not altruistic like some species, not honor-bound like others, not obedient, not hierarchical, not instinct-driven. Humans acted without waiting for permission. They helped without checking value. They saved lives without keeping score. That made them unpredictable, and unpredictability frightened the galaxy. Carsate met Elias again, this time on an observation deck overlooking open space. "The Conquered is unsettled," Carsate said. Elias nodded. "I noticed." "They fear what they cannot calculate," Carsate continued. Elias leaned on the railing. "We fear that too," he admitted. "We just act anyway." Carsate watched the passing ships. "Our queen has been questioned," it said. "Some accuse her of exaggeration. Others say she should claim you as a symbol." Elias winced. "I don't want to be a symbol," he said. "Of course you don't," Carsate replied. "That is why you are dangerous." Elias turned. "Dangerous?" "Yes," Carsate said calmly. "You represent a truth that threatens long-held beliefs." Elias frowned. "What truth?" "That power does not always seek reward," Carsate said, "and that kindness can exist without weakness." Elias looked away. "We're not kind all the time," he said. "We make mistakes." Carsate nodded. "So do rulers," it said. "Yet they are still feared." The Queen requested a direct conversation, not a speech, not a broadcast, a private exchange. Elias almost refused. Commander Halden convinced him otherwise. "This isn't about you anymore," she said. "It's about what humanity represents." Elias sighed. "I didn't ask for this," he said. "No one ever does," Halden replied. "That's usually how it starts." The communication chamber was quiet. The Queen of Violia appeared as a life-sized projection. Her presence was calm, steady, and strangely familiar. "Officer Moore," she said, "thank you for agreeing." Elias stood straight. "Your Majesty," he said. She smiled faintly. "You may call me Thyrol," she said. "Today I am not a queen." That surprised him. Then Elias said, "You can call me Elias." She studied him. "You truly did not know," she said. "No," Elias replied. "And even now," she continued, "you do not see yourself as special." Elias shrugged. "I see myself as tired." That made her laugh, a real laugh. "My people would never understand that answer," she said. Elias smiled slightly. "Mine would." She became serious. "Elias," she said, "the galaxy is changing its view of humans." "I know," he said, "and I'm not sure I like it." "Why?" she asked. "Because when people start watching you," Elias said, "they stop seeing your mistakes as accidents." She nodded slowly. "You fear expectation," she said. "Yes," she folded her hands. "So do rulers." Elsewhere, reactions grew stronger. Some species praised humans. Others warned against them. A few quietly adjusted their emergency protocols, adding new lines based on human methods. Rescue first, ask later. It was not officially credited, but everyone knew where it came from. Elias walked through the station later that night. A junior engineer stopped him. "Sir," she said nervously, "is it true?" He sighed. "Probably," he said. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" she asked. Elias thought. "Because I didn't think it was a story," he said. "Just a shift." She nodded slowly. "I hope," she said, "that if I ever have to make that choice, I don't stop to think." Elias smiled. "That's the trick," he said. "You don't." Carsate watched the stars alone. The Queen's voice echoed in its thoughts. Humans act before they understand the cost. That made them frightening. That made them necessary. And now the galaxy had to decide something important. Not what humans owed, but what everyone else owed them. Far away, Elias Moore prepared for another shift. He checked schedules. He rerouted cargo. He saved lives without knowing their names. And somewhere beyond the stars, entire civilizations began rewriting their rules. Because one human never asked who was worth saving. The galaxy did not wait patiently. Once an idea spread, it grew faster than ships could travel. Discussions turned into debates. Debates turned into fear. Fear turned into preparation, not for war, for influence. Across dozens of systems, leaders asked the same question in different ways. What do humans want? That question frightened them more than any fleet ever had. Elias Moore was promoted without asking for it. The message arrived while he was eating a simple meal in the station mess hall. Temporary galactic liaison, effective immediately. Elias stared at the screen. "I didn't apply for this," he muttered. Commander Halden stood across from him. "No," she said, calm as ever, "but the galaxy applied for you." Elias sighed and stood up. "I'm still a logistics officer," he said. "And that," Halden replied, "is exactly why they're listening." The Conquered Summit was the largest Elias had ever seen. Hundreds of species attended, some in person, most through projection. The chamber itself was ancient, designed long before humans had discovered faster-than-light travel. Elias stood near the center again. This time he felt the weight of eyes. The conquered speaker addressed the assembly. "We face a question," it said, "one that history rarely presents so clearly." The chamber quieted. A human saved a queen without knowing her worth. That act has shifted trust, expectation, and fear across the galaxy. The speaker paused. "The Violian court has proposed repayment." A hologram expanded, showing symbols of alliance, technology sharing, defense treaties, and influence zones. Gasps spread through the chamber. It was an empire's worth of power. Elias felt his chest tighten. Carsate stood among the Violians, watching him closely. The speaker continued. "This repayment would grant humanity protection, priority access, and a guiding role in future conquered decisions." The meaning was clear: power, legal, peaceful, absolute. Elias swallowed. This was what every rising species dreamed of. The Queen of Violia spoke next. Her voice was calm, steady, and sincere. "We owe a debt," she said. "Not only to a human, but to a principle we did not understand." She looked directly at Elias. "You saved me without asking who I was. In my culture, that is impossible. In yours, it is normal." She turned back to the chamber. "Such a species should never be left unprotected." Many delegates nodded. Some looked uneasy. Elias felt heat rise in his face. He stepped forward before he could overthink it. "With respect," he said, his voice echoing softly, "I need to say something." The chamber froze. Humans rarely interrupted formal conquered proceedings. The speaker inclined slightly. "You may speak." Elias took a breath. "I didn't save your queen," he said. "I saved a ship." A wave of quiet spread. "And if you give humanity all this power," Elias continued, "it changes why people think we act the way we do." The queen watched him carefully. "How so?" she asked. "Because then," Elias said, "every rescue looks like a transaction." That word hit hard. Transaction. Silence stretched. One delegate spoke sharply. "You would refuse protection?" it asked. Elias nodded. "Yes." Another voice followed. "You would refuse influence?" "Yes." A third, more cautious voice asked. "Why?" Elias looked around the chamber. "Because the day we expect reward for doing the right thing," he said, "is the day we stop doing it when it's hard." The words were simple. But they shook the room. Commander Halden watched from the edge, her expression unreadable. She knew what Elias was doing. He was throwing away safety, but he was protecting something more important. The queen stood slowly. "Elias Moore," she said, "do you understand what you are refusing?" "Yes," Elias replied honestly, "and I'm scared." That surprised many. "But I'm more scared," he continued, "of becoming the kind of species that only helps when it benefits us." The queen was silent for a long time. Then she smiled. "That," she said softly, "is exactly the answer I hoped for." Murmurs spread again, this time thoughtful ones. The conquered speaker spoke again. "If humanity refuses repayment," it said, "what do you propose instead?" Elias hesitated. He had not planned this far. Then he remembered the evacuation hub, the chaos, the fear, the simple rules that kept people alive. "Share systems," he said. "Not power," the speaker tilted. "Explain." "Emergency corridors," Elias said. "Shared rescue protocols. Open access during disasters, no politics, no hierarchy." He paused. "Rescue first, questions later." The chamber reacted instantly. Some delegates stiffened, others leaned forward. "That is dangerous," one said. "It invites exploitation." Elias nodded. "Yes," he said, "it does." "Silence, that's the cost," he added. Carsate stepped forward. "Our queen survived because of such danger," it said, "and our empire exists because of it." The queen nodded. "I will support this proposal," she said. The room erupted into discussion. The debate lasted hours. Some species refused outright, others hesitated. But slowly, one by one, systems agreed, not to be ruled, not to be protected, but to protect others. The conquered speaker finally raised its voice. "The motion passes," it said. "The rescue accord will be enacted." Elias exhaled shakily. He hadn't realized he was holding his breath. Later, Elias stood alone in a quiet corridor. The station felt the same: metal walls, soft lights. Familiar hum. Commander Halden approached. "You just changed galactic history," she said. Elias shook his head. "No," he replied. "I just kept it from changing us." She smiled slightly. "You're going back to logistics," she added. Elias smiled wider. "Thank you." Carsate met him one last time before leaving. "Our queen asked me to tell you something," it said. Elias waited. She said humans are not dangerous because they are powerful, Karsate said. They are dangerous because they choose to be kind when no one is watching. Elias looked away. Tell her, he said, that we're just trying to do our jobs, Karsate bowed. Across the galaxy, new systems came online. Rescue corridors lit up in regions once closed. Emergency beacons responded faster. Ships answered calls without checking flags. And for the first time, many species experienced something new: help without conditions. Elias Moore returned to his console. He drank cold coffee. He rerouted ships. He saved lives without knowing their names. And this time the galaxy did not ask what humanity wanted. They had learned the answer.